So I wanted to talk about this because the other day I was strolling through the fine establishment of Target. And I noticed something that I feel like I didn't really notice before, but once I noticed it once, I couldn't stop or help myself from noticing. So basically, the ladies would have their plus size sections, right? But then they would also have plus size mannequins, right? And then, but then I would go into the guy section, right? And all their mannequins have six packs or they're very small men. So that leads me into my next topic. Okay, so boom. Double standards, men body image versus women body image. And I know, first of all, this is a sensitive topic, but it's only sensitive if you make it. So,
oh God, is it though?
Me personally, like for instance, right? I could say you're a big guy, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think like that is that big of a deal. I don't think that is something that should be like terrible to say. Mm-hmm. I don't, you know what I mean? Now, there's a difference between that and being malicious. You feel me? But if it's just like you stating something, like if you're like, hey, you're a big guy, we got to go over here to like shop or something like that. You know what I mean?
All right, I got to go to the big and tall section. I know I'm not in the, medium.
Yeah,
listen,
like
I could be objective. Hey, listen, I'm a fat dude.
Yeah.
I know where I got to go shop.
Do you think women could be like that though? Do you think that for the most part, obviously not all women, but do you feel like there is a difference between objective truth when it comes to body image versus men and women? Like when it comes to objective body image?
Yeah, I think that women have the both sides of it. They have the positivity side where they go to, body positivity. Doesn't matter if you're a big girl, Lizzo, campaign and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then they also got the delusional aspect where, girl, that's not your size, but you're going to squeeze into it anyway.
Right.
And then they also have the apparel that helps them to squeeze into it.
Right.
They got the stuff that squeeze their waist down, squeeze the boobs back. They're going to get into it one way or the other.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and then when it comes to guys, we have what we have.
Right.
Is there the delusional guy that, hey, that swimsuit is not your size? No, we kind of...
we just kind of know.
Get, bigger trunks and we do what we got to do.
Yeah.
There's no real, like I said, tourniquet for squeezing men down into a different size. It's either you're in the gym or you're in the 3X section.
Right. Yeah.
It is what it is for guys.
Yeah.
We don't have that, double play, triple play as women do.
I think that the whole body image thing, I think really speaks to the difference between men and women when it comes to logic versus emotions and feelings. Mm-hmm. Because from what I observe, I feel like women, will lie or season their speech, so to speak, for the sake of somebody else. And I get it. That is, and objectively speaking, that is a good thing to do on paper, right? That is a good thing to do. But at the same time, I do kind of feel like there is a line when it comes to that. There are objective facts when it comes to health and obesity. Like those things are linked, right? I think we spoke shortly about this on a previous podcast, and these women came up on the scene, and they made the point that size isn't always obesity, and it depends on like the measurements and metrics and stuff like that. I get where they're coming from to an extent. For instance, if I'm obese according to American BMI or whatever, right? So I get what they're talking about. But do not play dumb with me. That's not what I'm talking about. When I meant obesity, you know what I meant. I didn't mean that thick CrossFit chick. That's not what I meant.
No.
I meant the one that is doing mukbang with no audience.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Okay. So I just want to fucking clarify. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with being honest about body image and health if it means saving somebody's life.
I agree. In the previous podcast, we talked about, would we ever date big girls? And
that's what it was.
We used the word big, and then they hear the word big differently from the way we are saying it and stuff like that. It's just, I understand. Listen, when it comes to a point where your health is concerned, when you can't take that flight of stairs without taking a break,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Where it's to the point where
blood pressure,
blood pressure is a
arthritis,
thing.
diabetes.
Not even diabetes. When the doctor says pre-diabetes, like when it's a pre, like I thought it was just diabetes or not. When you're working your way onto it,
right?
That's when we say, hey, health is a concern.
And what doesn't help is, yes, girl, yes, queen, like. No, bro, because are you going to be there when, you know what I'm saying? Like,
when she got to lose a toe because, the diabetes.
That's what I'm saying.
It's.
There's a line.
There's a line. Big it up. Big it up your friend. Big it up. Oh, yes, be proud of yourself. Be proud of who you are. Yes, but also keep an eye on, who you are and what's going on.
I think, like, I'm going to make this a little bit personal. So back in February, I was going through like the worst depression of my whole life. It was just a combination of things like becoming a civilian, after 8 years in the military. I'm bipolar. So I was going through giant swings of manic and depression. Mm-hmm. I was really alone and I was overeating like a mofo. I got up to 260. Mm-hmm. I was big. Okay. Now I had two choices. I could say body positivity no matter what and ride myself out like that, right?
Right.
Or I just faced the facts and I got back into the gym and it was fucking miserable and I hated it in the beginning, but I love it now. So I'm coming from a perspective of I know what it's like. Like I'm not the type of guy that was always quote unquote fit or whatever. Like I know what it feels like to be depressed and to be overweight and to hate yourself and all these things.
Right.
But, there's a difference between a real friend and a fake friend. And I feel like real friends say the things that that you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I kind of feel like, and to make it about the podcast, I kind of feel like that's what this podcast is. It's kind of like that friend. A lot of the things we say, it's not things that you want to hear.
And I think when it comes to that, things that you want to hear, things that you have to hear, when you say certain things and it becomes an issue, like, well, you're being mean or no, now you're fat shaming. It's like, you're not fat shaming. You're trying to be brutally objective.
Yes.
Like, hey, when you got to get on the airplane and you need to purchase that extra seat, are you fat shaming then, or could you have said something before that point, before they got there?
Right.
Sometimes, like I said, you made it. I'll take it personal too. About a year or so ago, I was also in some dire straits, and I was eating out of control, and I was getting closer to the 4 side before I started losing my weight.
Jesus.
I took my son to Sesame Place. And there was a one roller coaster I couldn't get on with him because the fucking latch wouldn't close down. That was a turning point in my life. Before, people around me would never say anything. I was getting bigger. Nobody said anything. But when I got to the point where I couldn't sit with my son on the roller coaster,
that's
I
when
said,
it was
whoa, I got to turn this around.
Right.
And like you said, you hate it in the beginning in the gym, but now I could get on the ride with my son.
Hey.
And it has to keep going from that point.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And I wish somebody would have fat shamed me before it got to that point. You know how embarrassing that is?
Right.
When you get on and I got to leave, or I got to put a stranger next to my son so he can get on the roller coaster. Like, no, Daddy's going to meet you downstairs. No, I don't want it. No, never again. Never again. So it's at that point where it's in me, and I'll fat shame myself.
Right.
Yeah,
I think those are the kind of general. I know I'm generalizing, but I think that those are the differences between men and women when it comes to body image, stuff like that. And also, I kind of find it interesting that women have the most to say when it comes to, I know they're really not going to like what I'm going to say next, but it's interesting that they're the forerunners when it comes to body positivity, right? Mm-hmm. But have you ever noticed that it's only on one side of the aisle? For instance, these days you can't go anywhere without like the plus size underwear models, or like on the cover of women's magazines, they're all out there now. They even got like models like walking down the thing, and
oh yeah.
I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Okay, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but my point is, why is it that we don't have that? You will never see a cover of Men's Fit, Vogue, whatever magazines we got.
Right.
You'll never see a belly out. You'll never see man boobs.
You might see what they call the dad bod, it's a slight puff,
It's like Leonardo DiCaprio in his off season.
He's in between movies right now. He's just.
Yeah, like the only time, and that's another thing, right? The only time that we get acceptance on a media scale for like dad bod is when it's like a rich famous guy.
Right.
Like Zac Efron gains like 20 pounds and he looks like an average guy, and all of a sudden ladies are like, oh man, you know what I mean? But it's like, but you'll never see that from the average guy. And like I said in the beginning, we don't have plus size mannequins now, do we?
You're right. I haven't seen one.
No, we don't.
I have not seen one.
Is that does that seem like equality? Does that seem fair?
What? I think I might have to write a strongly worded letter to the Target and let them know that I don't feel represented in the big section.
I think we about to get some papers. I think.
See some paper coming.
Yeah, we're gonna target first.
Ooh, I like that. We're gonna target.
We're coming for you, Target. Speaking of Target, speaking of body image, your body's got to get into clothing. So let's talk about what your clothes say about you.
Okay.
This is going to be another touchy one. So basically, I think that the way you present yourself, like if you're a grown adult, when you put something on, you know the message you're trying to send out, right? So I put this on, I'm trying to look fly. I'm trying to look fresh. I put this on, I'm trying to look a little bit more scandalous. So I'm trying to get a little thirst trapping going. You know what I mean? Whatever you do, whatever you put on, you're not naive. You know the reaction that you're trying to get. And some might say, well, they're just doing it for themselves. I know what you look like when you're just doing it for you. So with that being said, do you think that it's fair for people, anybody, even if it was a woman looking at a man or a man looking at a woman, do you think it's fair for somebody to judge somebody based off their apparel? Now, just like quick judgment, not like judge everything, but like quick judgment, that first instinct.
It's inevitable. Even if there was no such thing as fashion and we all wore the same 3-piece suit every day, whatever, I'm going to look at you, and if your tie is off, then you're, okay, you got a crooked tie or whatever. He doesn't take him. It doesn't matter. We're built to judge. It's in us, ingrained. It's how we help to perceive danger.
Right.
It's how he helped to perceive, whether this is a good situation or not. It's in us.
Right.
So we're gonna judge anyway. Now, whether what you're wearing, does that say something about you? I can agree.
Yeah.
I can agree because certain clothes have certain stereotypes set behind it.
Right.
If you see the guy, or if you have the guy in the group who's always wearing the button up, he's always business casual, even if we're going to TGI Fridays, whatever. That says something about his character, who he thinks he is.
Right.
If
it's a projection of his inner self.
Right. If you got the guy who's always in the sweatsuit, whatever, or he's always, casually, gym casual, whatever, then that says, okay, maybe he's into that.
Right.
Into that lifestyle. So I agree. What you wear does say something about how you are, what you try to project out there.
Right. It's your brand. I feel like when it comes to clothing, when it comes to body image and stuff like that, I'm kind of libertarian with it because it's like do what you want to do, right? As long as it doesn't infringe on me, right? So I'm kind of libertarian when it comes to that. But I'm also at the state of mind of like, you get what you put out.
Uh-huh.
So I don't like it when women want me to shut my brain off when I see a woman dressed scandalously, and they all of a sudden want me to glitch out and not make that instant judgment, because that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Because here's the thing. It'd be one thing if I was the one that was making it sexual. Like if a woman was like in a sweatsuit and I was the weirdo that made it sexual,
right.
That'd be one thing, right? Tinnitus. That'd be one thing. But it'd be a whole different ball game if you're out here, you know what I'm saying? Booty cheeks hanging out the undercarriage, under boobie out, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, I see your clit from the outside of the yoga pants. Now, is it me or is it you? Now, you can't tell me to switch my brain off. You and try to make me, because you knew what you did when you put that on. You knew the reaction.
Right.
So I'm confused as to why you're shaming somebody if you're getting the reaction that you put on in the first place.
It's not fair. It's not something that that is understood universally, that the clothes, and not just specific to women dressing scandalously, I should say. It's the same thing for the guys. If what's perceived is you're walking down the road in a all black trench coat, you know, and it's 80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
What do you got under that trench coat? What are you hiding under there? Like, that's not something that's normal for the occasion. You know what I'm saying? That's within accepted parameters.
Right. And when I say the reaction you're getting, right?
If somebody wants to cross the street when they see that, can you blame them?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So like, I'm not saying that it's justified for you to be disrespected, right? I'm not justifying physical harm. I'm not justifying sexual assault. I'm not justifying any of those bad things. But what I am saying is, if you're perceived as an object because you're objectifying yourself, you cannot be surprised. You cannot be shocked. Like that's my whole thing, right? You're grown. You know what you're doing with your image, but don't make it out to seem like a me problem when you knew when you put that on the message that you were trying to put out. You know what I mean?
Right. And don't hide behind the cop out. I did it for myself. And stay inside with that bullshit, because we're in the real world.
Yeah.
In the real world, people react to certain things, and
Yeah.
you cannot control how somebody else reacts. Just like how when we say stuff, and we know what we mean, but once it's out there, it belongs to them now. How they hear it, how they internalize it.
Right.
Right. If I see it and how this is how I internalize it, that's just me and how I go.
Well, I think it's because a lot of the times women do this this double speak thing or this double message thing where it's just kind of like, I'm putting out a message because I'm going to be honest. I think that men are used to not getting validated. So living in a world of being invisible is kind of like our default. Like we're used to that. But for women, I think that a lot of women do depend on the dopamine hit of validation. So I think that when women, for instance, do those yoga pants with the scrunch butt that is super revealing with the crop top and all that other stuff that y'all be wearing at the gym that I'd be arrested for if I wore that, but neither here nor there. Is that what you're wearing? Any functionality to your workout, or are you doing it for your daily dose of validation? But then you're going to get upset if anybody notices that you're doing it for validation by means of...
I think we need to change that wording. They get upset not with anybody. They get upset when the wrong person notices. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
If the hot guy that, they want to notice them notices, then it's okay. It's cool. But the guy that... who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some jerk notices, then it's upsetting, then it's creepy, then it's disgusting. If the right guy comes along and they kind of compliment, hey, nice see-through sheen workout pants.
Hey, I noticed you have a nice set of thick lips.
Right. And so, that's just.
But the wrong guy says that.
The wrong guy say it. Oh no.
Yeah. And I think it. Women, it's a confusing times for us, because how do we know if we're that guy? We don't know until we find out. The same thing with like catcalling. Like, I don't think it's the catcalling that's the issue. It's who is catcalling who that's the issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where the guy next to me is literally saying the same thing I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But they are being heard differently.
Yeah.
So I just said the same thing. Nah, you ugly.
Yeah.
But the guy next to me,
you're broke, you're ugly.
You're broke, you're ugly, you're too short, or whatever it is. Whatever it is. I don't check the category off on what you're looking for.
And that's fine.
Cool.
Look,
that's fine.
And that's fine. But at least here's my thing. Like,
keep that same energy.
Just be honest about it. Just be honest. Like, just be honest with the world. Say, yes, I am doing this, but not for everybody. I am sending out a message. Don't play coy like we're dumb.
You're sending out a broadcast. It's not a private message. Your beauty, your looks, your clothes is a public broadcast, right? If I'm listening to the same radio station that he's listening to, you can't get upset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you want to do it privately, you want to get that message across privately, then do it that way.
Yeah. And another thing, don't blame men for objectifying you if you're objectifying yourself, because I think that's very unfair. Because first of all, we're not responsible for every evil that has come forth on this planet.
No.
And, what I observe, through social media and stuff like that, I don't think that we're doing the objectification. Now, does it happen? I'm not denying that it happens. But I just kind of feel like the wheel of objectification has definitely been in control in the destiny of women. And you know what? If that's what women decide to do with their life, then that's fine. That's fine. But don't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? Again, at least take responsibility for the messages that you're putting out. That's it.
Keep that same energy, man. Let's keep it.
We're doing a survey around the country on the way population handles themselves and speaks and deals with their friends and interact with their peers and whatnot.